Genesis Genesis 41 Pharaoh's dreams. 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream. In his dream, he was standing by the river Nile. 7 cows walked up out of the river. They were fat and good to look at. They ate the grass at the side of the river. After those 7 fat cows, Pharaoh saw 7 other cows that also came up out of the river. Those cows were thin and not good to look at. They stood next to the other cows at the side of the river. The thin cows ate the 7 fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. Pharaoh went to sleep again, and he had another dream. He saw 7 groups of grain that were growing on one branch. The grains were fat and good to look at. Then he saw 7 other groups of grain that grew after the first 7 groups. These grains were thin because the hot east wind had burned them. Then the group of thin grains ate the 7 groups of grains that were good and fat. Then Pharaoh woke up. He realized that it was a dream. In the morning, Pharaoh had trouble in his mind, so he told all the magicians and the wise men in Egypt to come to him. Pharaoh told them about his dreams, but no one could tell Pharaoh what his dreams meant. Then the king's cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Now I remember that I have done a wrong thing. 2 years ago, we were angry with me and with your special baker. You put us in prison in the house of the guard captain. One night we both had a dream. Each of our dreams had its own meaning. A young Hebrew man was there with us. He was a servant of a guard captain. We told the Hebrew man about our dreams. Then he told each of us the meaning of our dream. And everything happened as he had told us. You gave me my job as cupbearer again, but you hanged the baker to kill him." So Pharaoh called Joseph to come to him. They quickly brought Joseph from the prison. Joseph washed himself and he cut his beard from his face. He put on clean clothes. Then he went and he stood in front of Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream and no one can tell me what it means. For people have told me about you. They say that you can tell the meaning of dreams." Joseph replied, "Pharaoh, I cannot do this, but God will give you an answer that will make you happy." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, I stood at the side of the river Nile. I saw 7 cows that came up out of the river, and they were fat and good to look at. They were eating the grass at the side of the river. After them, 7 more cows came up out of the river. They were thin and they were not good to look at. I have never seen cows as bad as these in Egypt before. The thin cows ate the 7 fat cows that came out of the river first. When they had eaten them, they wouldn't have known it. They still seemed to be as thin as they were before they ate the fat cows. Then I woke up. In another dream, I also saw 7 groups of grain that grew on one branch. The grains were fat and good. After those 7 other groups of grain grew. Those grains were thin because the hot east wind had burned them. The thin grains ate the 7 groups of fat grains. I told those dreams to my wise men and magicians, but no one of them could tell me the meaning of my dreams. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "Your dreams both have the same meaning. God has shown you what He is going to do. The 7 fat cows tell us about 7 years, and the 7 groups of fat grains also mean 7 years. Both dreams have the same meaning. The 7 thin cows that came out of the river mean 7 years, and the 7 groups of thin grains mean 7 years. Both of these tell us about 7 years of fame. This is what your dreams mean. As I said, God has shown Pharaoh what he is going to do. There will be plenty of food for 7 years all over the land of Egypt. But then 7 years of fame will follow. People will forget about the 7 years when they had plenty of food. The fame will destroy the land of Egypt. No one will remember the 7 good years because the fame will be so bad. God gave you 2 dreams with the same meaning because these things will certainly happen. God will cause them to happen very soon. Now, Pharaoh should look for a clever man. He should look for a man who knows what is right and wrong. Tell him to rule over the land of Egypt. This is what you should do. Choose some officers, give them authority to store food during the good years when they were plenty. They must take a fifth part of all the food that grows everywhere in Egypt. They must store the extra food during the good years that will come soon. Give these officers authority to store and to take care of the food in the cities. Then you will be ready for the 7 years of fame that will happen everywhere in Egypt. The people in Egypt will have enough food, and the fame will not destroy the land. Pharaoh and his officers thought that Joseph's idea was good. Pharaoh said to his officers, "This man has the Spirit of God in him. We'll never find anyone else like him." So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "God himself has helped you to know all these things. So there is no one who is as wise and clever as you are. I'll give you authority in my palace. All my people will do whatever you tell them to do. Only I will be greater than you because I am the king." Pharaoh also said to Joseph, "I give you authority in the whole land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took his king's ring from his finger and he put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed Joseph in beautiful clothes made of linen. He put a gold chain around Joseph's neck. Pharaoh gave Joseph a chariot to ride in. It showed that Joseph was Pharaoh's most important officer. Only Pharaoh had more authority. As Joseph traveled, his servant shouted to the people, "Bend your knees to respect Joseph." In this way, Pharaoh gave Joseph authority over everything in the land of Egypt. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I rule Egypt as Pharaoh, but nobody who lives anywhere in Egypt will do anything unless you tell them. 2. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Japheth Pene. Japheth Pene? Sabnatbane. He also gave Asenath to Joseph to be his wife. She was a daughter of Potiphar, Asnath, who was the priest in Heliopolis. Everyone knew that Joseph had authority in all the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he began to serve Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph then left Pharaoh's palace and he traveled all over Egypt. During the 7 good years, lots of food grew in the land. Joseph got all the extra food that grew in the 7 good years. He stored in it Egypt cities near the field where it had grown. In this way, Joseph stored a lot of food. The food grains were as many as the sand by the sea. Joseph stopped counting how much food he had stored because there was too much food to measure. Before the year of fame arrived, Joseph became the father of 2 sons. Asnath, daughter of Potiphera, the priest in Heliopolis, was their mother. Joseph called his firstborn son Manasseh. Joseph said, God has made me forget all the trouble that my family has given to me. Joseph called his second son Ephraim. Joseph said, God has begotten children to me in the land where I have received pain. The 7 good years with plenty of food in Egypt came to an end. The 7 years of fame began. In the same way that Joseph had said would happen, there was a famine in all the other countries too. But in Egypt, the people still had food to eat. When the Egyptian people became hungry, they cried out to Pharaoh for food. When they did that, Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, Go to Joseph, do whatever he tells you to do. The famine became very bad everywhere. Joseph opened all the places where he had stored the food. He sold grain to the Egyptians because there was a bad famine in all of Egypt. People from all the other countries came to Egypt to buy food from Joseph. They came because the famine was very bad all over the world. Genesis 42. Joseph's brother go to Egypt. Jacob heard that there was food in Egypt, So he said to his sons, "There is no food here, so why are you just sitting there? I've heard that there is food in Egypt. Go there and buy some for us. Then we may continue to live and not die." So, 10 of Joseph's brothers went to Egypt to buy food. But Jacob didn't send his youngest son, Benjamin, with them. Jacob was afraid that something bad might happen to Benjamin. Jacob's sons went to Egypt, as well as other people who went there to buy food. They all went to Egypt because there was a bad famine in Canaan. Joseph had authority to rule Egypt at the time. He was the man who sold food to all the Egyptians. When Joseph's brother arrived there, they bent down in front of him with their faces to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw the men, he knew that they were his brothers, but he spoke to them as if they were strangers. He didn't speak to them in a kind way. He asked them, "Where do you come from?" They replied, "We come from the land of Canaan. We have come here to buy food." Joseph recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dream that he had dreamed about his brothers. He said to them, "You have come here secretly to see how your people can attack our land." They replied, "No, my lord, that is not true. We are your servant and we have come to buy food. We are all the son of one man. We are honest men. We are not your enemies." But Joseph said, "No, you have come here to see if our country is weak so that you can attack us." Joseph's brother replied, "We belong to a family of 12 brothers. We are the son of one man who lives in Canaan. Our youngest brother stayed at home with our father. One other brother is not with us anymore." Joseph said to them, "It is as I told you, you are our enemies. I will see if what you say is true. This is what I will do. I promise by the life of Pharaoh himself. I will not let you leave this place. You must first bring your youngest brother here. Only then I will let you go. One of you must go to bring your brother here. I will keep you other in prison. In that way, I will know if what you said is true. If your youngest brother does not come, then I will certainly know that you are the enemies." Then Joseph put his brothers in prison for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do what I say. Then you will stay alive, because I respect God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison. The other brothers can go back to Canaan. You may take food back with you, because your families are hungry. But you must return to Egypt and you must bring your youngest brother to me. Then I will know that what you have said is true. Then you will not die." Joseph's brothers agreed to do what he told them. The brothers said to each other, "This punishment is happening to us because of what we did to Joseph." We saw how upset he was when he asked us not to kill him. But we refused to be kind to him. That is why we have all this trouble. Reuben said, "I told you not to do anything bad to the boy, but you would not agree. We killed him and now we must receive the punishment." While they said all this, they didn't know that Joseph could understand them. Joseph had been speaking in the Egyptian language, and someone else told the brothers in his message in Hebrew. Joseph went away from his brother and he began to weep. But then he returned to speak to them again. While they watched, Joseph told his men to tie Simon's hands and take him away. Then Joseph told his servant to fill the brothers' bags with food. He also told them to put each man's money bag into his bag. He told them to give the brothers enough food for their journey. The servant did what Joseph told them. Then brothers put the bags of food onto their donkeys. Then they left. They traveled until they reached the place to sleep that night. One of the brothers opened his bag to get food for his donkey. Then he saw his money inside his bag at the top. He said to his brothers, "They have given back my money. Here it is in my bag." All the brothers were upset and frightened. They asked each other, "What has God done to us?" After some time they arrived back in Canaan. They went to their father Jacob. They told him everything that had happened to them. They said, "We met the man who is Lord over Egypt. He spoke strong words to us. He thought that we were enemies who had come to find a way to attack Egypt. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We are not your enemy. We belong to family of 12 brothers or the son of one father. One brother is not with us anymore, and the youngest brother is at home with our father in Canaan.' Then the man who is Lord over Egypt said, 'I want to know if you are honest man. This is what I will do. You must leave one of your brothers here with me. Then take food for your hungry families and leave Egypt. But then you must bring your youngest brother here to me. If you do that, I will know that you are a really honest man. I will know that you are not our enemies. Then I will give your brothers back to you. You will be able to stay in Egypt and you can buy and sell things here.' The brothers started to take food out of their bags, and in their bags they found each man's money. When the brothers and their father saw the money, they were frightened. Their father Jacob said to them, 'You are taking my children away from me. Joseph is not here anymore. Simon also is not here. Now, you want to take Benjamin away from me? Everything that happened is hurting me. Then Reuben said to his father Jacob, I will bring Benjamin back to you. If I do not, then you can kill both of my sons. Trust me to take care of him. I will bring him back. But Jacob said, My son will not go with you. His brother is already dead. Benjamin is the only one left. Something bad may happen to him on your journey. I am already an old man. If I lose Benjamin, I would be so sad that I would die. Joseph, Genesis 43. Joseph's brothers returned to Egypt. The famine was still bad in Canaan. Joseph's family ate all the food that they had brought from Egypt. So Jacob said to his sons, Go back to Egypt and buy some more food for us. But Judah said, The man told us many times, Unless your brother is with you, you will not let you see me again. So you must send Benjamin with us. Then we will go and buy food for you. But if you don't send Benjamin, we will not go. The man clearly said to us, Unless your brother is with you, you will not see me again. Jacob said to them, You have brought great trouble to me. You shouldn't have told the man that you had another brother. The brothers replied, The man asked us many questions about our family. He asked us, Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? We only answered his question. We didn't know that he would say, Bring your brother here. Then Judah said to his father Jacob, Agree to send the boy with me. Then we will go to Egypt at once. Then all our family can continue to live. We will not die. I promise you keep Benjamin safe. I myself will take care of him and I will bring him back to you. If I don't bring him back home, then you should say that I am guilty. I will be guilty for all of my life. You must go now. We must go now. We have already talked for too long. By now, we could have gone to Egypt and returned twice. Then their father Jacob said to them, If you must take Benjamin, do what I tell you. Put some of the best things from our land in your bags. Take them to the man as a gift. Take some oil, some honey, and some spices. Also take some myrrh and some nuts. Also take twice the amount of money with you. You must give back the money that they put back into your bags last time. It may have been a mistake. Take your brother Benjamin too. Go back to the man at once. I pray that God Almighty will help you. I pray that God will cause the man to be kind to you. Then he will let your older brother go free. He and Benjamin will return here with you. As for me, if I must lose my sons, then I will lose them. There is nothing that I can do to stop it. So the brothers took the gift, and they took twice as much money with them. Then took Benjamin, and they hurried to Egypt. When they arrived there, they went to meet Joseph. Joseph saw that Benjamin was with them, so he said to his servant who took care of his house, "Take this man to my house, kill an animal and prepare it for a meal. This man will eat with me at noon." The servant did as Joseph told him. He took the man to Joseph's house. The brothers were frightened when the servant took them to Joseph's house. They thought, "He has brought us here because of the money that we found in our bags last time. Someone put it there before we returned home. Now he wants to punish us. He will take us to be his slaves. He will take our donkeys too." So the brothers went to Joseph's servant. They spoke to him at the door of Joseph's house before they went in. They said, "Please, sir, the first time we came here, we came to buy food, but on our journey back, we stopped at a place to sleep for the night. When we opened our bags, each of us found our money there. It was the same amount of money that each of us had taken to buy food in Egypt. The money was in the top of our bags. Now we have brought the money back here. We have also brought more money so that we can buy more food. We don't know who put the money back into our bags." The servant replied, "Don't worry, everything is all right. Your God, the God of your father, put the valuable silver coins there. I received your money, no problem." Then the servant brought Simon out to see his brothers. The servant took the men into Joseph's house. He gave them water to wash their feet. He also gave food to their donkeys. The brothers prepared their gift to give to Joseph when he would arrive at noon. The servant had told them that they were going to eat a meal there. When Joseph arrived home, the brothers gave him the gift that they had brought with them. They bent down low to the ground in front of him. Joseph asked them if they were well. Then he said, "You told me last time about your old father. How is he? Is still alive?" The brothers replied, "Your servant, our father, is still alive, and he is well." He bent down to the ground again to respect Joseph. Then Joseph saw his brother Benjamin. He was his own mother's son. Joseph asked, "Is this your youngest brother? Is he the one that you told me about?" Joseph said to Benjamin, "I pray that God will bless you, my son." Joseph loved Benjamin very much. He quickly went out of the room because he wanted to weep. Joseph went into his own room and he wept there. After that, he washed his face. he returned to his brothers. He controlled himself and he said, "Prepare the food for them to eat." The servant gave food for Joseph at his own table. The brothers sat together at a different table, and the Egyptians who ate there also sat together. The Egyptians could not eat a meal with Hebrews because they would make the Egyptians ashamed. The brothers sat in a place where Joseph could see them. The servant told each of them where to sit by their age. The oldest brother was at one end, all along to the youngest brother at the other end. The brothers were very surprised to see this. Then the servant took food from Joseph's table, and they gave it to the brothers. Benjamin received the biggest amount of food. It was 5 times more than any of his brothers. The brothers also drank wine with Joseph, and they were all very happy. Genesis 44. Joseph tested his brothers. Joseph told the servant who took care of his house, "Fill the men's bags. Give them as much food as their animals can carry. Put each man's money bag in the top of his bag. Then take my silver cup and put it in the top of the youngest man's bag. Put it with the money that he brought to pay for his food." The servant did what Joseph had told him to do. When morning came, the men started their journey with their donkeys. They had traveled only a short way from the city. Then Joseph said to his servant, "Go now and follow those men. When you find them, say to them, 'My master was kind to you, so why have you done these bad things against us? You have taken my master's own special cup. It is the cup that he drinks from. He also used it to find out about future things. You have done very bad things." So Joseph's servant followed the man, and he reached them. He told them Joseph's message. But the brothers said to him, "Sir, why do you say these things? We are your servant. We would not do anything like that. When we found the money in our bags last time, we brought it back to you from Canaan. So we would never take valuable silver or gold things from your master's house. If any one of us has this silver cup, he must die. We other will become your slaves, sir." The servant said, "What you said is fair. Whoever has the cup will become my slave. The rest of you will go free." Each of the brothers quickly put his bags on the ground and opened it. Then the servant began to look in the bags. He began with the oldest brother's bag and he finished with the youngest brother's bag. Then he found the cup in Benjamin's bag. When this happened, all the brothers were very upset. They tore their clothes. Then they put their bags back on their donkeys. They returned to the city. Joseph was still in his house when Judah and his brothers arrived. They threw themselves on the ground in front of Joseph. Joseph said, "Why have you done these bad things? You should have known about an important man like me. I can use magic to find out what people do." Judah said, "We don't know what to say to you, my Lord. We can't say that we didn't do this. God has shown that we are guilty of this sin. Now we are your slaves. We are all your slaves, as well as the one who had your cup in his bag." But Joseph said, "I wouldn't do a thing like that. Only the man who had the cup will be my slave. The rest of you can return to your father. You may go as my friends." Then Judah went and he spoke to Joseph. He said, "Please, my Lord, let me speak to you. You have all of Pharaoh's authority, but please don't be angry with me, your servant. You ask us, 'Do you have a father or another brother?' And we replied, 'We have a father who is very old. He has a young son who was born when our father was already old. That son's brother is dead. He is the only son of his mother who still lives. His father loves him.' Then you said, 'Bring your youngest brother to me so that I can see him.' And we said, 'The boy can't leave his father. If he leaves him, his father will die.' But you said to us, 'Your youngest brother must come with you. If he does not come, I will not let you see me again.' We returned to our father and we told him what you said. After some time, our father said, 'Go back to Egypt and buy some more food for us.' But we said, 'We can't go back there. We can only go if our youngest brother goes with us. If he's not with us, we'll not be able to see the man again.' Then my father said to us, 'My wife gave birth to 2 sons. One of them went away and he never returned. So I said, a wild animal must have eaten him. I have not seen him since that happened. If you take my youngest son away from me too, something bad may happen to him. I'm already an old man. If I lose Benjamin, I would be so sad that I would die.' Judah continued, and he said, 'So my Lord, I could not go back to my father without his youngest son. My father stays alive because of this boy. If my father sees that his son is not with us, he will die, because we didn't bring the boy back to him. He will be sad enough to die. I promised my father that I would take care of the boy. I said, I will bring the boy back. If I don't, then you can say that I am guilty. I will be guilty for all of my life. Please, sir, let me stay here as your slave instead of the boy. Let the boy return home with his brothers. I can't go back to my father if the boy is not with me. I never want to see how upset my father would be." Genesis 45. Joseph says who he is. After Judah said this, Joseph couldn't control himself. He did what one to cry in front of all his servants. So he shouted, "Make everyone go away from me." So there was no one still there with Joseph except his brothers. Then he told his brothers who he was. Joseph wept loudly so that the Egyptian heard him. All the people in Pharaoh's house knew about it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I'm Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers couldn't answer him because they were too frightened. They could see Joseph was there in front of them. Then Joseph said to them, "Come near to me." So they did that. He said, "I'm your brother Joseph. I'm the one that you sold to become a slave in Egypt. But do not be upset. Don't be angry with yourselves. But do not be upset. Do not be angry with yourselves because you sold me like that. No, it was God who sent me here. He sent me here before you came. He did that so that I could save people's lives. There has been a famine for 2 years already. No food will grow for another 5 years. But God sent me to come here before you. Because of that, your family would stay alive. God would do a great thing to save you and your descendants. So you didn't really send me here. It was God who did that. He made me Pharaoh's most important officer. As if I am his father, I take care of everything in Pharaoh's palace. I have authority to rule over all of Egypt. Now hurry back to my father. Say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord over all Egypt. Come here to me. Come now. You can live in the region called Gosen. Your children and your grandchildren can live there. You can bring your sheep, goats, and cows, together with everything you have. In Gosen, you will all be near me. I will take care of you there. I will give food to you because there will be 5 more years of fame. If you don't come here, you and all your family and servants will become very poor. Joseph continued to say to his brothers, as I speak to you now, you can all see clearly that I really am Joseph. My brother Benjamin also know that. Tell me, Father, about the authority that I have here in Egypt. Tell him about everything that you have seen here. Then bring my father here quickly. Then Joseph hugged his brother Benjamin and he wept. Benjamin hugged Joseph and he also wept. Joseph continued to weep as he kissed each other with his other brothers too. After this, his brother began to talk to Joseph. Pharaoh then heard that Joseph's brother had arrived in Egypt. Pharaoh and his officers were happy to know that. Pharaoh said to Joseph, Tell your brothers to do this. Say to them, put food on your donkeys and return home to Canaan. Then bring your brothers and your family to come here to me. I'll give you the best land in Egypt to live on. You'll have all the best things that the land gives to you. You must also tell your brothers, take some carts from here in Egypt. Then your wives and children can ride in them to come back here. Bring your father and come quickly. Don't worry. You don't have to bring all your things from your own country. The best thing of Egypt will belongs to you. So Jacob's sons did what Pharaoh said. Joseph gave them carts as Pharaoh had told him to do. He also gave them food for their journey. Joseph gave new clothes to each of his brothers, but he gave 300 silver coins and 5 set of clothes to Benjamin. Joseph also sent these things to his father, 10 donkeys to carry the best things from Egypt, 10 female donkeys that carried food and grain, and the other food for his father's journey. Then Joseph sent his brothers to start their journey. As they left, he said to them, "Do not argue with each other on your way home." The brother left Egypt and they returned home to their father Jacob in Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. He ruled over all the Egypt." Jacob was so surprised that he didn't believe what they said. So Jacob's son told him everything that Joseph had said to them. Jacob saw the carts that Joseph had sent to carry him back to Egypt. Then Jacob felt strong again. Jacob said, "Now I believe you. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die."